Why athletes get naked? Let's see how it goes.
This is Liz Cambage, full-time WNBA All-Star, one of the greatest players of her generation. Career earnings, $900,000. Earnings on Onlyfans, $1.5 million. In her first week, that's right, she made more on Onlyfans in 7 days than in her entire basketball career. She's not the only one. From track and field to bobsled, more and more pro athletes are joining Onlyfans to make a living. Even Douglas Costa and Nick Kyrgios. Now you might think the obvious. These athletes are selling their bodies for money, and the guys at Athletic Interest made a video about it to have fun with the research. But it's more complicated than that.
What?
We're not just talking about lower-ranked athletes, but Olympic champions, Wimbledon finalists, and Champions League footballers. Why would any of those athletes join a platform that is popular for pornography? How much money are they making? And what does this say about the current sports and creator economy? As it turns out, there is a much bigger picture. Welcome to Athletic Interest and the OnlyFans business of athletes.
What? I was literally wondering what does swimsuits guy do with Sports Illustrated? Selling copies. that's what it is, Gator.
Is something that most companies fail. They took something people were used to getting for free and convinced them to pay for it. The numbers speak for themselves. Over 350 million users, nearly 8 billion in revenue in 2024, and a large chunk of that went straight to creators. For comparison...
Wait, whoa, wait a minute, wait. You're telling me $6.3 billion was given to creators on OF. OF themselves made $8 billion last year. $8 billion? OF made more money than Twitch. OF made more money than Twitch. Oh my gosh. Are we this horny? When did we get this horny?
That's $1 billion more than the combined salaries of every NBA player. Sure, there are way more creators on OnlyFans than players in the NBA, but it's...
Wait, what?
Sure, there are way more...
There's 5.3 million people on OF? What? 5.3 million people are on OF? Bro, that's crazy, bruh. That's crazy. That's insane.
Creators on OnlyFans than players in the NBA, but it's also a lot easier to start an OnlyFans than to land an NBA contract. This is no career advice, by the way. The point is, the top earners make a lot of money. Like Sophie Rain, who shared a screenshot of her yearly earnings. Minus the fee, she makes roughly $3 million per month. But that's still ridiculous.
Per month?
This guy makes. Sorry for all the numbers, but we're getting somewhere, promise.
Nah, top tier pocket watch it.
Just 42 employees. That works out to over $31 million in revenue per employee. That's more than Google, Apple, Meta...
Oh my gosh, they are racking it in. OF is raking it in. There's no way they only have 42 employees. They have 42 employees. Bro, every employee should be getting paid fat at OF. Oh my gosh. And OF made more money than Craigslist. What? Oh my gosh. This is insane. They made $1 billion, chat. OF made $1 billion with 42 people.
You name it. And since the company is completely bootstrapped with no outside investors, he took home nearly $500 million in dividends last year. So naturally, other social media platforms started to think, let's do subscriptions too. Elon Musk even changed the policy to allow porn on his platform. But subscriptions are only part of the OnlyFans business model. Despite looking like other social media platforms, OnlyFans runs on a completely different business model. First, you won't find them on any app store. Apple's terms don't allow platforms with sexually explicit content, so OnlyFans operates entirely outside the app ecosystem.
Really?
Most social media companies make their money from advertisers, but OnlyFans makes all of their money directly from their creators. And those creators get paid directly by their fans. OnlyFans takes a 20% cut, and the rest goes to the creator. That's more generous and more transparent than most other platforms. YouTube, for example, shares around 45%.
Yeah.
And only with selected channels. Don't worry, we're not switching anytime soon. Now, OnlyFans didn't invent revenue sharing, and they have way fewer users than YouTube or Facebook. But there's one key difference. Because they are not on the App Store, they don't have to give Apple or Google a 15 to...
Do OF creators have to file 1099 independent contractor form? Yes. Yeah, OF creators are just like YouTubers tax-wise. They're just like any influencer tax-wise.
30% cut of every transaction. And that's the only reason they can sustain the 80-20 split. If Apple was already taking 30%, there's no way OnlyFans could afford to pay creators 80%.
Facts.
So, almost by accident, they landed a competitive advantage. Better payouts and more control over the platform.
Jeez.
And it gets better. Creators use other platforms to go viral and then link to their OnlyFans profiles.
Wait,
so
what?
OnlyFans doesn't need to spend big on advertising. They've basically outsourced user acquisition to their creators. Put all that together, and you get one of the most unique business models in the creator economy. But here's the question. Athletes make a ton of money anyway. Why join a platform popular for porn?
When they move their company to some country where there's less tax, they already making bank? Nah, they don't need to. Because there's other things that are involved with that.
Messi or Simone Biles, the truth is, most professional athletes earn surprisingly little. Let's take Olympic athletes as an example. The average track and field athlete makes around $15,000 per year from their sport. That's less than a McDonald's worker in France.
Yeah, track and field athletes don't get paid nothing.
$22,000 on minimum wage. And it gets worse. The International Olympic Committee, which earns over $7 billion per Olympic cycle, pays absolutely nothing to the athletes directly, even if they win gold. That's because the Olympic system was built on the idea that athletes should remain amateurs, competing for honor, not money. A rule originally designed to keep working-class athletes out of elite sport, and one that still affects how money flows in the industry today. We've actually made a full video about this. We'll link it in the description if you want.
That is crazy, bro. You making $7 billion a year. That's like college sports before NIL. Like, you couldn't make money even though you're making these colleges money. Like, that's crazy to me, chat. That's actually crazy. Like, athletes literally should, if you're, that's like you telling me, yeah, you can spend all your money buying my groceries. That's like, say for example, I went to Whole Foods. I bought all my groceries from Whole Foods, but Whole Foods saying that I can't cook with their groceries and show people what I'm cooking. Like, what? That's crazy.
So how do Olympians survive? They rely on a fragile mix of three things.
Brands.
Salaries, if they are lucky. Prize money, which varies wildly. And sponsorships, which mostly go to the big names in football and basketball. Take the 2012 London Olympics. Usain Bolt made over $20 million that year.
That's bold.
$9 million Puma deal. But Megan Kalmer, an Olympic bronze medalist in rowing, she made $10,000 for her medal, before taxes, and had to grow her own vegetables to make ends meet. And it's not just Olympians. A study found that 80% of professional athletes in the US don't consider themselves
crazy,
financially
bro.
stable. Travel, gear, training, nutrition, it all adds up.
Facts.
Sponsorship money is drying up, especially if you're not constantly on TV. Which brings us back to OnlyFans. Because if you're a world-class athlete with a loyal fan base, but you're earning less than a delivery driver, why wouldn't you turn to a platform that lets you monetize your following directly? Speaking of building and monetizing a following, if you're a creator, athlete, or business trying to grow online, you need to understand what drives traffic to your site. That's where today's
put me on game.
Sponsor Ahrefs comes in with their free site, the creators, athletes.
Chill.
In our case,
I ain't gonna lie, chat. I thought he was about to put me on game. This man plugging stuff. I respect it though. Crazy part too is the Olympics changed rules for certain games. Like pro NBA players can compete, but not pro soccer players. Yeah, that's interesting.
Who produce the content? On the other, the platforms that distribute it. The question is always the same. Who gets how much of the money? Social media platforms make billions by monetizing the attention athletes generate. Think of Douglas Costa. Millions of fans, millions of clicks. But most of the value he creates goes to the platforms. Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok are great for exposure. They help creators land brand deals, affiliate links, and sponsorships. But when it comes to paying creators directly, almost nothing. YouTube is an exception. It shares ad revenue,
YouTube is W.
respects creators, and rewards consistency. But even on YouTube, it's a grind to make a living. Talking from experience here.
Facts.
Onlyfans wants to flip the model, allowing creators to monetize their audience directly. It's part of a larger shift in the maturing creator economy. Creators getting a bigger slice of the value they generate. And for the most part, that's a good thing. More control, more transparency,
Chat, would y'all start an
more
OF?
revenue for creators.
Chat, should I start an OF?
Onlyfans still comes with baggage. Yes, they market the idea of behind-the-scenes access, training footage, recovery routines...
Yeah, that's what
Q&As.
OF was supposed to be.
But let's be real. Most content on the platform isn't meal plans and workout tips. Unless you're willing to show skin, the odds of making serious money are slim. And for athletes, that comes with
you
a
a
risk.
girl?
Aligning with a platform still associated with adult content could harm sponsorship opportunities. It could turn off brands, and eventually backfire. Some critics also argue that it normalizes explicit content, or worse, pushes financially struggling athletes toward choices they wouldn't otherwise make. It becomes an ethical question. Is OnlyFans empowering athletes to monetize their attention, or nudging the vulnerable to sell their bodies? There's something to win and something to lose
I get you, Gator.
for athletes joining OnlyFans. But the biggest winner in all of this, OnlyFans
OF.
itself.
OF
Because
making
there's
bank.
a catch to why so many pro athletes are joining the platform. Many of them get paid by OnlyFans to do so. They are not only doing it to get the 80% cut, but they get good old sponsorship money from the company. Why? Because OnlyFans wants to go mainstream, and their way in is sports. They even have a whole sports blog on their website, where they report about OnlyFans-sponsored athletes and teams. The strategy is social proofing.
Yep.
Athletes and fans will be more likely...
Oh, I'm seeing the play here, chat. I'm seeing the play here. I'm seeing the play here. OF is like, look, bro, I'm tired of being known for just showing no squares. I'm tired of that. But that's how we make our money. And that's how we have what we have. So let them keep doing what they doing, but we definitely gonna go crazy pushing everything else. So I'm seeing the play. I'm seeing the play.
In the future, as they see
I'm seeing the
others
play,
doing
chat.
the same. Adult content is still their core business, but if they want to grow, they need to diversify. And sports is one of the most trusted, emotionally driven content genres out there. It also fits the broader trend. Athletes building direct relationship with fans without relying on media companies or brands. Cristiano started a YouTube channel. Kylie Kuzma launched a newsletter. Austin Eckler built his own app called Experience. Everyone's trying to own the connection.
W video, chat. What do y'all think, chat? What do y'all think, chat? Now, I didn't know Douglas Costa had an OF, and I'm not about to go searching to see what content he posts. I'm not about to do that. But I am curious. Is he doing like, you know what I'm saying? Is he whacking his willy on OF? Or is it just normal content? I didn't even know he had one. Now, I know the WNBA girl, she's clearly doing like thirst trappy stuff, obviously. But bro, she made 1.2 mil in a week? Bro, I ain't gonna lie, chat. If I start an OF, would y'all watch it? Keep it a buck. 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 If I start an OF, would y'all watch it? Type. Silence is an answer. I hear from college football fans that social media is ruining the game because players more interested in branding themselves and notoriety for NIL than championships. Yeah, I can see that. I would pay a dime for it. I wouldn't pay a dime. Type. I see what you're saying, though, Gator. I see what you're saying. But it's also like they have to do that because they have to do that because football's not forever. All it takes is someone to tackle you wrong. Now your ACL's cooked. Now you can't play the sport anymore. So it's like you gotta set yourself up if you want to do that type of stuff. But it's like also it's like, bro, if I'm putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, I should. If I want to monetize myself, I have the right to do that. So it's like that's like the transfer portal. It's crazy right now, but it's also like it's the give and take of giving people the right to brand themselves. So